दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। Hare Krishna. So on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, today we will discuss about the content of Bhagavad Gita chapter wise. There are altogether 18 chapters in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and today we will just overlook or overview the 18th, all 18 chapter from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Among 18 chapter, the first chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna Vishada Yoga means Arjuna grief, Arjuna's grief, the grief Arjuna is having. And in this first chapter, the all chapter is generally it deals with observing the armies. This chapter starts with Dhritarashtra inquiring about the activities in the battlefield. It starts with the Dhritarashtra Uvasa. The term Dhritarashtra Uvasa. Uvasa means he asks. So Dhritarashtra he is inquiring about the activities happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So activities of armies of both sides is discussed, and Arjuna orders his charioteer Bhagavan Sri Krishna to take his chariot in the middle of both armies, and after observing the army of both sides, he sees all his relatives, his loved grandfather and his guru Dronacharya who taught him all military science, and his brothers. In fact, he sees in that battlefield actually there are more of his near and dear lovable relatives on the side of enemy than on his side. So after observing the army of both sides, it was already, conch was blown and it was already in the mood of attacking each other, and that time Arjuna give order to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra, who is out of love towards his devotee, was acting as a charioteer. So he gives order to his charioteer saying, please, oh Krishna, please take my chariot in middle of both armies. So I want to see who are there actually to fight with us, or I want to see who are there to fight with us against dharma in the side of adharma, or the son of Dhritarashtra. So after seeing this, actually all wherever he turns, he sees only his relatives and his loved ones all around. And by seeing this, we can observe that from Arjuna's behavior on the battlefield, it seems that he is immersed in lamentation and grief. After observing the armies of both sides, Kaurava side and Pandava side, now Arjuna starts giving excuses not to fight. He is actually completely bewildered by the situation there. By seeing the army on two sides, Arjuna is bewildered. The first chapter deals with the observation of army in the battlefield and the bewilderment of Arjuna, the dilemma of Arjuna, or that lamentation Arjuna is having. Second chapter is Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga means yoga through distinguishing the soul from the body. So second chapter generally deals with the with difference between the soul and the body, or distinguishing the soul from the body. Bhagavan Sri Krishna explains that the eternal function of the soul has nothing to do with function of this body, and the identity of this body, like dynasty, like caste. Although those who falsely identify the body as the real self cannot understand this, but in this chapter Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra clearly mentions those who have Dhyatma Buddhi or identifying this body as real self. They cannot understand this, but he clearly explains in this chapter about the difference between the soul and the body. As long as living entity remains bound by the deluding material energy or the illusory energy of Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra called Maya, and misidentifies his body as his self, he is forced to undergo the miseries of lamentation, delusion, fear, and etc. So, it is therefore imperative that one should accept the shelter of spiritual master as Arjuna accepted Bhagavan Sri Krishna as spiritual master, tava shishyana dhimata, saying, stating tava shishyana dhimata, and we should accept the shelter of a spiritual master who is conversant with the truth, who have seen that truth. When the living entity accepts the shelter of bona fide guru, bona fide spiritual master, he realizes his own ignorant condition as Arjuna. He accepts or he realizes his ignorant conditions, and he accepts Arjuna accepts Bhagavan Sri Krishna as a spiritual master, or he accepts the discipleship, studentship of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, saying tava shishyana dhe. I actually now I am surrendering to you as a student, O Krishna, please guide me. So, when a man or a jiva or a person realize his own ignorant condition, he then tries to become free from the illusory traps of the deluding potency by giving up his own conceptions and respecting the instruction of own spiritual master. The bona fide spiritual master is actually seer of the truth. He have seen that truth, he have realized that truth. A devotee who has pure exclusive love for Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra. Therefore, such person is free from 4 defects of illusion, error, imperfect senses, and deception. So, when a practitioner of bhakti hears or listens the instructions from the lotus mouth of all merciful spiritual master, he then understand the difference between the soul and the material body. He also can then realize the ill effects of sense enjoyment, and he automatically starts, or he automatically becomes attracted to the hearing the conceptions, characteristics and glories of the sage whose mind are fixed in transcendence, those who are in the level of transcendence. Then by the influence of saintly association and awareness sprouts within his heart of the need to attain conclusive knowledge of the absolute truth. Actually, when somebody starts inquiring with the real source, okay, here now Gita is being explained by Bhagavan Sri Krishna not as a Bhagavan, but as a guru of Arjuna. And Arjuna not as a friend of Bhagavan Krishna, or not as an eternal associate of Bhagavan Krishna listening this Bhagavad Gita, but he is listening this Bhagavad Gita as a sincere student. And in this second chapter, generally whole chapter it deals about a difference between Sat and Asat. Third chapter It's called Karma Yoga. Third chapter, Karma Yoga, means karma through the path of prescribed duty, or the yoga through the path of action. When the living entity has heard Sri Krishna's instruction, he understands that the path of spiritual advancement, whereby the fruit of one's past actions is offered to the Bhagavan Sri Krishna, which is also called Karma Yoga, consists of endeavors in service to Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra that are performed without any types of selfish desire of enjoying the fruit of any action. If the heart is full of desires for sense enjoyment, sense gratification, accepting the grab of renouncing is not actual renunciation, but hypocrisy, and it can never bring any auspiciousness in the life. The living entity should perform his prescribed duty as service to Bhagavan, because performing the duty of sense enjoyment, or performing the duty for the selfishness, or to enjoy by self, or having that tendency to enjoy, produces no auspicious result. Performance of a prescribed duty, or the karma, such as Vedic sacrifice, can award mundane sense pleasure, but such pleasure is temporary and mixed with distress. So, offering the Lord the fruit of one's actions, however, can purify the heart and take us to the level of self realization. It is therefore auspicious to abandon negligence of one's prescribed duty, as well as abandon all sinful acts and the selfishly motivated performance of one's duty, and instead selflessly perform that duty, offering its result to Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Chapter 4, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. So, chapter 4, this Jnana Vijnana Yoga, it is yoga through transcendental knowledge, Jnana Vijnana Yoga. The fourth chapter begins with instruction on the path of spiritual advancement through gaining that transcendental knowledge, or establishing oneself in the level of transcendental knowledge called Jnana Yoga. It first explains that one can only obtain genuine knowledge of the truth by receiving the mercy of Sri Guru, who has seen the truth. The process of receiving this mercy is to hear from a person in a bona fide disciplic succession, or hearing this transcendental knowledge in authorized parampara, or the disciplic succession, which is connected up to the original speaker of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra. So, that transcendental knowledge cannot possibly be attained or grasped through mundane learning, or by our so called intelligent, or the knowledge of matter. This chapter also explains that an incarnation of Supreme Lord appears in every millennium. The birth and activities of the Lord are divine, and it is foolishness and offensive to consider them mundane one like ours, or consider them the material or the body like us, made out of Pancha Mahabhut. Actually, the form of Bhagavan is always the divine or the Satchid Anand. So, one attains this knowledge of the absolute truth in the association of a self-realized sadhu or the saintly people. One gradually hearing from him or from one gradually hearing from like these realized saintly people about the unique characteristics of communion with the Lord through such knowledge and its superiority over linking with Bhagavan by offering him the fruit of one's work, which is the real karma yoga. A person cannot easily cross over the ocean of birth and death just by taking the shelter of authentic knowledge only. The practitioner who doubts this process cannot make progress at all. If one wants to have that progress, wants to gain that progress, wants to be progressive in this spiritual path, wants to be progressive in the spiritual life, then one practitioner, the sadhaka, should not have slightest of doubt in the process that is explained in Srimad Bhagavad Gita by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And one who lacks this conclusive idea or the knowledge or the understanding of the truth will become bewildered by the illusory energy of Supreme Lord. So, the person who will lacks this conclusive knowledge of the truth will become fallen and deviate from the path. So, those who do not want to have that deviation, or those who exactly want to follow the path and reach to the conclusion or attain the desired success of life, should not deviate from the instruction imparted by Swayam Bhagavan or Supreme Personality of Godhead as acting as a spiritual master for his dear friend and disciple Arjun. So, the person who will have a slightest of doubt or try to concoct themselves in the process or concoct the process themselves and want to act on their own will or the concocted method, they will become trapped again in the cycle of fruitive action. Chapter 5, Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So, this Karma Sannyasa Yoga means yoga through renunciation of actions. Karma Sannyasa Yoga, renunciation of action. So, upon attaining the knowledge of the truth, the practitioner becomes qualified to connect with the Supreme through the renunciation, through the process of renunciations of prescribed duty or the renunciation of karma. At that time, a person realized that real renunciation means to give up any attachment to prescribed action and its fruits. For one whose heart is still impure, it is both proper and beneficial to adopt the practice of offering the fruit of one's work or the karma to the Lord, remaining detached from both the process and its result. Here we should focus, we should understand the concept that renunciation is actually means remaining detached from both the process and its result also, rather than completely renouncing the work itself. So, selflessly offering of the results of one's prescribed duty to the Lord bestows the qualification to attain the nature of Brahma. And those who know Sri Bhagavan or the Parabrahma, they actually can attain peace. So, to attain the peace, we should know the God. As there is famous saying, no God, no peace. No God, no peace. Chapter 6, it's Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga means yoga through the path of meditation. So, in this chapter, we learn about the practitioners can understand from the instruction of spiritual master who has seen the truth that one can only meditate on the Supreme Personality of Godhead when his heart has been purified. A genuine yogi or renounced person is devoid of mundane desire, because one can attain perfection in yoga as long as one still desires. One cannot attain the perfection in a yoga as long as one still desires material enjoyment. It is necessary to regulate eating and recreational activities to attain perfection in yoga. A person with free senses, a person with uncontrolled senses cannot attain that perfection in yoga. This perfection in yoga means seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the indwelling witness in the heart of all living entities, and secondly, realizing that all the living entities in the world exist only due to the support and shelter of the Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It also clearly stated in this chapter that a devotee of the Lord is superior to fruitive worker and empiric philosopher and even the mystic yogi. Chapter 7, Adhyatma Yoga, are also called yoga through realization of transcendental knowledge. Learning that transcendental knowledge or gaining that transcendental knowledge or constant study of the instruction of this transcendental knowledge leads one to the firm understanding and realization of that Sri Bhagavan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna alone is the ultimate limit of the Supreme Absolute Reality, and that there is no absolute reality other than Swam Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra. Only by surrendering exclusively to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, one can become free from the bondage of the deluding material energy or the illusionary energy of Swam Bhagavan. And four types of people have no qualification. This chapter explains about those unqualified four types of people, those who do not have qualification to engage in the worship of the Supreme Lord, because they perform impious acts, the foolish and the lowest among mankind, and those whose nature is asuric or demonic, and fourth one, those whose knowledge is covered by illusion. So, conversely, four classes of people are endowed with spiritual merit, and they can actually therefore engage themselves in the worship of Sri Bhagavan or attainment of Sri Bhagavan, and they are the inquisitive, the distressed, those who have desire for wealth, and those who are desirous of liberation. So, in this world, the devotees of the Lord are actually the most rare, as explained in this chapter. One does not attain one's eternal welfare by worshipping various demigods and goddesses is also explained in this chapter. The proper process of worshipping Bhagavan Sri Krishna for those devotees who want to attend him is described or mentioned in this chapter. Although the process of worshipping demigods and goddesses are also in fact in one sense worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead, but still those who have that desire to attend the supreme abode of Godhead, for them the proper way of worshipping is also explained in 7th chapter. Chapter 8, Taraka Brahma Yoga. Taraka Brahma Yoga, also commonly understood as the yoga of absolute deliverance. Only those who are exclusively devoted to the Supreme Lord, or those who are completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chandra, can know the tattva or the fundamental spiritual principle. In regard to the Bhagavan's featureless aspect, Brahma tattva, and fruitive actions, Karma tattva, and the basic of this material manifestation, Adhibhuta tattva, etc. One pointed devotee can actually easily attend Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra as mentioned in this chapter. Devotee of Supreme Lord never takes rebirth is confirmed by Swayam Bhagavan in this very chapter. One can only attain Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra by exclusive devotion is confirmed in 8th chapter. So, chapter 9 is a Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga. Raja Guhya Yoga, Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya Yoga means yoga through the most confidential knowledge. Now, the Raja Yoga means the king of all knowledge, or the most confidential, Raja Guhyam, or the most confidential of all the secrets, refer to supremely pure devotional service in this chapter. Material nature is not the original cause of the cosmic creation, because its potency of material nature to create only comes by the inspiration of Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is foolishness and also offensive to think that Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is human being, or that his body is composed of Pancha Mahabhut like us, but in fact his body even is composed of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Or to consider even this Satchid and Ananda, eternity and knowledge and bliss are also made of material elements like body of an ordinary conditioned soul, or the subtle material tattva like Mano Buddhihar Ahankar. It is actually an offense or the foolishness. So, genuine saints engage in the worship of Sri Krishna with exclusive devotional moods, and Sri Krishna personally actually attends their necessities. It is against the prescribed rules to worship different demigods, because Sri Krishna alone is the enjoyer and master of all sacrifice. So, to consider the demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varun, etc. as a Bhoktaram Yagya Tapasam, or the enjoyer of our offering, is actually not the right approach. The Supreme Person accepts everything or anything that is offered with love by pure devotee is confirmed in this chapter. In the last verse of this chapter, it is concluded that pure devotion is the one and only means to attain the Supreme Lord or Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Chapter 10, Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga means yoga through appreciating the opulence of the Supreme. So, by the name itself, Vibhuti Yoga or appreciating the opulence of the Supreme Lord, we know this chapter deals with the opulence Bhagavata of Supreme Lord. By sincerely and constantly studying this chapter, a person will understand that Bhagavan Sri Krishna is the basis of all majesty and all potencies and all opulence. The entire material universe with all its opulences is just 1/4 of his opulence, and all these opulence of the whole world we have seen, we have tasted, or we have touched, or we have felt by any means, is the opulence 1/4 of his opulence actually, and that opulence of Sri Krishna is ever growing. When one attains knowledge of Lord's that majesty, one can easily understand that everything is directly or indirectly related with Sri Krishna Chandra. He bestows Buddhi Yoga, or give that intelligence, pure form of intelligence, upon his devotee, so that they can attain a sound understanding of Tattva, or they got that Tattva Bodha, fundamental philosophical principles, Bodha or understanding of fundamental philosophical principles. In this way, their ignorance is destroyed and they engage in worship with pure love. Chapter 11, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. The vision of the cosmic form, Vishwarupa Darshana means. Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga means yoga through beholding the Lord's universal form is called Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. This chapter, 11th chapter, reveals that the universal form of Supreme Lord Bhagavan Sri Krishna is actually can be seen only by his dear devotees, and actually is external in the sense that whole cosmic manifestation shows the everything that ever existed and that's ever going to exist in this material nature. So, his personal form is transcendental and human like. Only devotees whose eyes are anointed with pure love can see the form of Lord, the supreme enjoyer of transcendental mellows, or that rasa. He is only attained by the yoga of exclusive devotion. In this chapter, the Aishwarya of Bhagavan is fully manifested. Bhagavan shows his that Virat Swarup, the universal form, and Arjuna can see past, present and future, everything in that universal form. So, this is called Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Chapter 12 is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means yoga through pure devotional service. This chapter here explains that Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has no source other than himself, is the supreme reality, absolute beauty and absolute truth, and that he is the topmost object of living entities' exclusive worship, and he is enjoyer of everything in this material world and spiritual world. One can easily attain him by pure devotion. Devotees who are endowed with single pointed devotions are more dear to him. Those who adhere to the philosophy that Supreme Personality of God had no features, and that the living entity can become the Lord or can become the enjoyer, receives only misery, is confirmed in this 12th chapter. 13th chapter is Prakriti Purusha Viveka Yoga, or differentiation between spirit and matter. Prakriti Purusha Vibhaga Yoga means yoga through understanding the distinction between material nature and the enjoyer or the spirit. This chapter gives deep insight into material nature and the conscious living entity. Now, through this discussion, the Supreme Lord bestows a lucid understanding of absolute principles upon his surrendered devotee, and thus he delivers them from the ocean of material world, or the ocean of birth, old age, disease and death. When pure devotion arises in the heart of any living entity, of any person, knowledge and this renunciation naturally appears there as a secondary result. However, in order to strengthen one's understanding of the true nature of devotion to him, it is still necessary to deliberate upon knowledge to attain realization of it. When a devotee attains a clear understanding of absolute principles, he actually become qualified to attain prema or pure love to Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Chapter 14, Guna Traya Vibhaga Yoga. The threefold division of modes of material nature are the Guna Traya Vibhaga Yoga. This adhyaya, yoga through transcending the modes of material nature. Actually, an analytical study of this chapter leads us to the understanding that this material world expands simply just by the action and interaction of these three modes of material nature called mode of goodness, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. Practitioners of Bhakti Yoga can easily cross over these three modes and finally can become qualified to attain the Supreme Lord or to attain the prema of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga, the mystery of omnipresent Supreme Being. Or this chapter 15, Purushottama Yoga actually means the yoga through understanding the Supreme Person or understanding him, the Bhagavan Swayam Sri Krishna. This material world extends from the lower planetary system to higher. Living entities are separated parts and parcels of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Those who are opposed to him, to Bhagavan Swayam, are bound by the result of their actions and wander in various higher and lower species of life, from higher to lower planet. However, by great fortune, one may attain the mercy of bona fide Guru, spiritual master, and under his direction completely engage in the worship of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, knowing him alone to be the supreme person. The devotees' absorption in their worship makes them aware of everything. Consequently, they can easily cross over the ocean of this material world, ocean of this material existence. Chapter 16 is Daivasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga, the division between the divine and non-divine, or the Daivasura Sampada Yoga means yoga through descreening the divine and demonic qualities. This chapter explains the divine and demonic natures. What are the nature of divine, Daivi, and what are the natures of demonic, Asuri Sampada. Daivi Sampada and Asuri Sampada is explained in this chapter. The living entity who is bewildered or who is kept in illusion, who is illusioned by the external illusory potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is controlled either by divine or demonic qualities. When one takes shelter of divine nature, as explained in this chapter, a person becomes inclined towards the worship of Supreme Personality of Godhead. On the contrary, on the other side, those who adopt a demonic nature and become averse to Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra will go to suffer in the hellish planet and have to take rebirth again and again and again in this material existence. Those of demonic nature they portray the theory they portrayed the theory of Mayavad, means that everything is illusory, including Supreme Lord himself. Here, using the term Mayavad means those who consider everything to be illusory, including the Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself. So, it is essential to become realized from this demonic tendency, Asuri Sampad. This can be achieved simply by worshipping the Lord with complete faith in the association of pure devotees or the realized saints, sadhus. 17, chapter 17, Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, the classification, 3 classifications of conviction, or Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. This adhyaya, name of this adhyaya means yoga through discerning the 3 types of faith a person can carry, based on 3 modes of material nature. So, this chapter, 17th chapter, explains the 3 types of faith according to the association a person keeps and the nature a person acquired from his previous impressions, previous samskaras, and a person develops faith in that which is in the mode of goodness, passion, or in the mode of ignorance. When the living entity completely takes the association of pure devotees of Sri Hari, the Supreme Lord, then transcendental faith appears in his heart. A person can then worship Sri Krishna, who is all transcendental. Such a devotee is an saint in reality, or he is a actual saint. And the last chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, means liberation through renunciation, or Moksha Yoga means the yoga of liberation also. And in this chapter, Bhagavan Sri Krishna Chandra presents the essence of entire Srimad Bhagavad Gita. First, Bhagavan Sri Krishna is identified as the highest truth among all of his transcendental manifestations, and then the most confidential instruction to attend him is given in this chapter. It is explained that one can attend service to him which is full of transcendental rasa, transcendental sweet mellows in his supreme abode by following this practice in sequence. First, to surrender unto him; second, to practice the 9 limbs of bhakti; and thirdly, accepting the shelter of bhava bhakti, or pure transcendental devotion. Hence, the content of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in 18th chapter is concluded. Hare Krishna.